drive? Year, make, model?
I drive a 1994 Miata.
Why did you choose that car?
Because I couldn't afford an RX-7, so I decided to find something cheaper, and it became a Miata.
Do you have a name for it, and why? Do you have a name for it, and why?
I can't take it seriously, man. It's just, your face. It's just like, his face is so funny.
What inspired you to join the 9A Circuit Club?
Would definitely be the same thing that inspired me to become friends with my friend back in PA. That was, like I told you the story before, George. Literally just a bunch of guys that are into cars and have the same goal in mind. The only thing is, this time it's not about stats and like trying to be who's the lowest and trying to scrape over the hill and stuff. This time it's about trying to have a car that's functional and gets from point A to point B in a certain amount of time. Also, it didn't hurt that we actually had like a similar interest in mind. Like, we all watch Initial D, we all like watching Best in Motoring. We all like Japanese cars, so that's like one big one, because like American car guys and Japanese car guys, we'll bicker back and forth, but we still have the same goal in mind, so it's not that terrible. Nah, but yeah, it's called smallfry. The reason I gave it the name was because for one, it was considered an underdog, and all Miatas are known to be really slow, but they can handle really well. So I considered that the car was an underdog that can just beat other cars with just how good it can handle instead of brute speed.
What have you done to the car?
Let's see, I got Megan Racing coilovers, JNC 15x8 wheels. I got Racing Beat sway bars, Racing Beat sway bar links. I have a Mushimoto 3-row radiator, Mushimoto fans, Mushimoto thermostat, Mushimoto hoses. I have, let's see, a CX Racing 4-to-1 headers. I have a CX Racing cold air intake. I have ram air turn signals, Jetstream headlights that was imported from Japan. I have, let's see, a hard dog roll bar. I have Momo driver's seat bucket seat, a Momo Super Cup to be exact. And I also have a Cobra Monaco, an older seat for the passenger side. Yeah, I think that sums it up. I think for now.
Yeah. What is your favorite feature to your car? Of your car?
Will have to be the coilovers, definitely. Just because they enhance the car so much.
What do you do with your car on a daily basis?
Home and to work. It's my daily, so I drive it every day. But on the weekends, when I have time or money, I can just throw it around the track.
Have you had any trouble with law enforcement, or have gotten stopped because of the appearance of the car?
No, not really. Actually, actually today, I actually had a cop actually tell me to floor it because he wanted to see how fast my car was.
Nice.
But it's really weird. But otherwise, I've never gotten anything bad from cops. Most cops actually like my car or don't know anything about it and they want to know more about it. So the 10 years I've been living here, I've gotten pulled over like I think 4 times.
What?
And I've only gotten, I think, 1 ticket for my registration being out. But that's because the DMV never really told me anything about it. But that's about it.
What was your first car?
Honda Accord. And the only reason I probably loved it was because it literally did everything without doing anything to it. It always worked, if that makes sense.
What is your preference on how to tune or modify your car? A car?
Would have to be wheels, coilovers, and brakes. And then everything around it.
How long have you been into driving cars?
Been into driving cars since I was probably old enough to reach the pedals. Like I used to have a little toy. What are they called again? They're red and yellow, and it's like the Flintstone setup where you can pedal it with your feet. I had one of those when I was little, and that from there on out, I always wanted a car just because it was so much fun to get into something and literally just like steer it and push it. It was like super fun. Even though I didn't steer, but it didn't really matter. I really liked it.
What is motorsport?
Motorsport, to me, I think motorsport is literally just going to the track, respecting others while you're on the track, but also giving it your best when you're going out there.
Have you experienced any track days or high performance driving events? Yes, explain. Which tracks have you first experienced? Or no, are you not planning on going to track days?
official track days have been in Lime Rock because that's the closest place to me. Since I live in New York, Dry Lime Rock is in Connecticut, so it's like about an hour or so drive for me. And the back roads are really fun. But the other track days I've been to were like autocross days, where like pretty much empty parking lot, traffic cones. You pay to get in. All you need is a helmet, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty fun.
What are things you enjoy most about track day?
For one, it makes me feel the adrenaline rush. Definitely the adrenaline rush. Because normally just pushing the car to the limit, just getting into that point where it's about to just give out, and then out of nowhere it ends up the car just gains grip and it just keeps going. And the best feeling is probably having a car that's supposed to be faster than you, and when you get out of the corner, he's way behind you because he was either too scared, or he just didn't have, or his car wasn't good enough to actually go through the corners.
What is your dream circuit track to drive on?
Would definitely have to be the Nürburgring, just because of how crazy the track is and all the stories I've heard from it. And also, every time I play Gran Turismo, it was like my favorite track, where it was the most technical track. Most people can't even stay on the track to begin with. Most people just drive on the track and they always come off on the first turns or the first chicane or wherever it comes out at. But overall, that was the one track that I actually practiced like almost every single day when I was playing Gran Turismo, and I managed to get good enough at it where I can always beat a lot of people. So I would say the Nürburgring. Yeah, definitely the Nürburgring.
Do you have a list of tracks that you would like to participate with your car, and which ones?
Would have to be, top of my list would definitely be Tsukuba, just because it doesn't require a lot of power. It requires a lot more handling. And also the Nürburgring, like I said before, the Nürburgring is definitely one place I like to be at. The only thing is, my car is, you need a real fast car to drive around there at times, because a lot of the corners are high-speed corners instead of low-speed. Let's see, the other track would have to be Fuji Raceway, but probably in a different car. Like I say an RX-7, definitely an RX-7. If I can actually make it out, I would like to go to Laguna Seca, because like that track, I've seen that track 100 times, and it's such a fun track, it's such a famous track, and also it's like Mazda's test ground, so I kind of wanted to pay tribute to it when coming out there with my car.
What are your views on different car cultures? Stance, slow, loud music systems, show cars, etc.
A lot of car cultures, I say it will depend more on what type of car, because you can have a Miata that can be stanced or tracked out, and they're so different. But like there's literally two different crowds for the type of car. But again with type of car will have to be definitely like, if it's a cruiser like a 4-door, like let's say a Honda Accord, which is pretty popular these days. Slamming it or putting a lot of camber on it, that's pretty cool. Sound system, that's also pretty nice, because the cars they're not performance-oriented vehicles, so they don't really go that fast. Or if they do go that fast, they're not really track-oriented, so it's fine. But normally when it comes to cars small, like an Evo that already has like track history from like way back in the 80s, in the 90s. Subarus, they're 4-doors, so they can do pretty much everything, the same thing, STIs. But like normally when it comes to those cars, I feel like Miatas, RX-7s, Subarus, STIs, Evos, I think those cars should definitely be track prep. Just because you're losing so much of the car with trying to stance hitting, just because stance cars, most people, like when you have a stance car and a track car, they don't really become friends, because a track guy could go wherever he wants to go and get there pretty quick if he has to, and then a stance guy kind of has to plan his route before he gets there, because they're too low to almost go anywhere, or they're just destroying the undercarriage all the time. So it's a hit and miss every single time you put any of those kind of categories or kind of car cultures together. But I have seen both of the people kind of become friends, because I know I had a friend called George, and he had a Volkswagen that was like, it wasn't track ready, but it was performance. He had more engine work done than anything. I had a Honda Accord, and it was on the floor, and it couldn't almost get anywhere. But we still were friends, because we both had the same kind of like passion in mind. We both were car guys, so we always had something in common to talk about.
What are your views and opinions on popular drag racing, also street racing in the tri-state area near NYC?
What I have to say, definitely keep racing on the track, because one, New York has terrible roads which destroy suspensions. I had to do alignment on my car like already in a year, just because of all the potholes. So they're pretty terrible. But normally drag racing, again, like I personally don't see it as fun because you go in a straight line, and most of the times if the car's faster, it makes up for a lot. Like if you put two of the same cars together, then it becomes a little more competitive. But most of the time in drag racing, two cars aren't the same. One is a turbo, one is a naturally aspirated or motor build, and you have them go down the line, and if one makes more power or just gets an advantage on another one, then that one's better. And that's why I don't like drag racing, because drag racing deals more with the car, from my opinion, than the actual racing from the actual driver's skill perspective. Because circuit, you have to learn the track, you have to learn what kind of speed you have to go in, you have to learn how to counter steer, you have to learn your kind of like heel toe. Again, that's another skill that you have to learn when you're driving a manual car, if you take the manual onto the track. Or if anything, you have to constantly keep, like, almost get obsessive with going around a track just to kind of get that lap time to be better than a lot of other people. But otherwise than that, that's pretty much what I see on it. Definitely get a Miata, because it's cheap and it does everything you want it to do. Even does burnout. It's even rear-wheel drive, so it does burnout. Yeah. Nice. Fun fact, your Mazda better pay me. Mazda better give me some money.
What do you think is the white smoke coming out of your exhaust?
That's not a question, is that?
What kind of question is that?
Thank you for being a part of 9-8 Circuit Club.
Son.
That a question, nigga?
He has a guardian angel over him 4 times in 10 years.
It's funny because I've done burnouts and everything, so it's like,
we got that on camera, right?
It's like, cops have never noticed me.
Don't worry, that's